Welcome to this new episode of Lucky Last. Today I'm joined by Bonnie Gillies, professional makeup artist turned founder of Basics by B, a vegan, cruelty-free Australian beauty brand. Bonnie noticed a gap in the industry and decided to fill it, making makeup simple, ethical, and accessible for everyone. You also built a strong online presence, sharing your journey and insights with thousands of followers. In this episode today, we will dive into your story, the challenges of building a brand from scratch, and what it really takes to succeed in an industry as competitive as beauty. Bonnie, welcome to Lucky Lass.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Let's start with the beginning. You started as a professional makeup artist before becoming a founder. What first brought you to the beauty industry?
I've always been obsessed with it. Since I was a kid, I would just collect anyone that was throwing away old makeup. I would take it. I collected face charts at makeup stores. I just couldn't wait till the day I could wear makeup. I'd sit in my room putting on bright lipsticks and being like, when I grow up, I'm going to wear bright lipstick every day. So I've just always been obsessed with it. And then when I finished school, that's what I wanted to do. But I was living in Newcastle. The career options were limited. So went to uni for a little bit and then quit and decided to do makeup anyway, but had to move to Sydney to do that.
Okay. Just quick question. Your mom was a lot into makeup?
I wouldn't say a lot into makeup, but yes, whenever she'd go, she wouldn't wear makeup every day, but when she'd go out, I'd just sit there and just watch her and copy everything that she was doing. Do you ever pull a face when you do makeup? If you're putting mascara on, people do a funny face. I still pull the same face that my mum does. Like when she sort of like goes,
Yes.
when she's doing, and I do exactly the same thing just because I've just copied her, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's very cute.
Yeah.
So, was there a defining moment where you realized you wanted to create your own brand? How did you come to Basics by B?
Because for over a decade, I had a really strong online community. I was being paid by all the big beauty brands, like you name it. I was doing jobs for them, being flown all over the world to post about their products and sell their products. And I just thought, I really just want one thing that is mine. And so I didn't really have the bigger picture of all these products and a huge brand. I just wanted one product that I could use and people could buy from me. So I decided a palette was the best option because there's blush, bronzer, highlight, 5 eyeshadows. So a whole lot of stuff, and they're quite versatile. Like they suit a lot of skin tones, a lot of ages. So I made one palette and I thought people can buy this and learn along with me, like because people like learning from me. So I decided, yeah, just one product. And then that just went really well. And it all sort of grew from there. I was like, okay, what can I make now?
And then you kept going with other products.
Yes. So then I realized people need brushes because everyone was like, what brushes do we use? I'll make you a set. And then I realized, see, there's been a few times when you realize, not coming from a business background, that I was just making a product that everybody would love. I didn't think about them repeat purchasing. Like the palettes last years and years. So I was like, okay, now I need some things that run out a little bit quicker, just so that my customers don't just buy from me once in their whole life. So I added some lipsticks and things like that run out a bit quicker.
But that's a joy of being an entrepreneur. And when you start, you learn along the way.
Yeah.
And yes, I think many founder, you think about what people would really like without really thinking about strategy.
Yeah.
Did you build your strategy along the way as well? Did you get some mentors?
Yeah, look, I always felt I was a little bit out of my depth in business. I didn't back myself. I know I'm smart and I know I've always been entrepreneurial, but yeah, I knew that there was so much I didn't know. So along the way, I've had coaches, mentors. Yeah, I've had a lot. And a lot of the time, because e-commerce, when I started this brand, was relatively new, a lot of the coaches were from traditional business backgrounds and they just weren't a good fit. And although they taught me some little nuggets of wisdom, it just wasn't right. I needed specific e-commerce mentors. So I did find that and had some really good coaching for 12 months. But yeah, I've always been so opening to learning stuff because I knew I didn't know everything.
And what was the first step that you took to launch your palette?
So finding manufacturers, I didn't know where to start. So a friend of mine who had connections with some different manufacturers put me in touch with a few, getting samples, and as soon as I was happy with something, then getting the money together to place my first manufacturing order.
You have vegan products and cruelty-free product. Was this a personal decision?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you
I
tell?
just think in this day and age, there's no reason why it should be tested on animals. It's ridiculous to me. That was absolutely something that I was not going to be flexible on.
Yes, fair enough. And I think this is as well because you started a little while ago. At that time, it was not that, I will not say popular, but
Yeah, it wasn't very common.
exactly.
Yeah,
Do you think it helped build your brand?
absolutely. I think all brands need to have some, need to let their customers know where they stand on things like that. So I think, yeah, I think that was an important part of it.
Okay. Your philosophy is a lot about less is more.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about the philosophy and how do you input that into your products?
So I although I could be teaching people like what the latest trend is and how to do something really complicated, what I found when I was asking my community what content they wanted from me, and I was honestly thinking they was going to ask me how to do a winged eyeliner or how to do a smoky eye, and a lot of the time it was just like how do I put on blush or where do I put on lip liner, really basic stuff, and I just didn't realize that because I'm so good at it and comes naturally to me that people just struggle with the really simple things. So I try and make sure all my content is really breaking down how to do things. But I also think that my job is I'm really good at taking trends and taking it in and then translating it to people in a way that they can understand and recreate easily in a way that's not going to feel too much for them or over the top. And at the moment, the makeup trends are definitely less is more. And because my following are mostly over 35, I think as you age, less is more. If you pack on heavy makeup, unless you do it really expertly well, it can actually age you. So I really like to, yeah, less is more is definitely my philosophy. I make products that kind of are multi-purpose, so it's not too complicated. So I'm just always thinking about what my community likes, what they want, and what I can give them that's going to help them look and feel good and feel modern.
I really love this. Really part of this philosophy as well. I rarely put makeup on and I barely know how to put makeup on, to
Yeah.
be honest. So it's really refreshing to hear a professional in the beauty industry saying less is more, simply because sometimes when I'm looking on social medias or even YouTube video, there is a lot of makeup and products.
Powders and primers
Yes.
and baking and all these things. Yeah.
And it's very overwhelming. I'm like, there is no way I can do that.
Yeah.
So it's really refreshing to hear that. So do you think, this brings me to this question, do you think that instead of having 20 products, five are enough?
I think, yes, 5 is enough, but if you want variations in color, like you might want a few different lipsticks or options on blush or anything, but for an everyday face, yes, 5 is enough.
Okay. Beauty industry is everywhere, social especially, I find. How do you stay on top of trends?
I I just sort of look at what is happening, what looks like makeup trends change every 5, definitely by every 10 years. So if you're still doing what happens is women learn how to do their makeup once in a way that they like, and then they just keep doing it like that and they don't change it. And if you don't update that, especially by the 10-year mark, one day you'll look in the mirror and you'll go, I hate my makeup. And you might not realize why, but it's just because your look and what you've been doing is a bit outdated and it won't make you feel good. I just look at like what is trending in fashion by other big makeup artists. You can I think that's my gift. I'm really good at seeing what's trending. And in terms of products, I always look at what the trends are and how I can make a really versatile product to encourage people to try this new tech trend. Because if I just bring out a product and I say, here you go, this is this new trend, you should try it, they won't. I need to, for my community, I'll make a product and I've got to really be able to demonstrate how good it can look if they're willing to take a little risk and try something new.
Do you still do some makeup?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
Not as many as before, but that's my real passion. That's what I want to do. Sometimes I'm sitting there doing profit and loss and forecasting stuff. This is not what I signed up for. I just want to paint people's faces and make them look pretty. But I still do, and I still have some clients that I really love working for, so I still do those. And then, when we're doing shoots for the brand, so I can still do my makeup for the brand as well. But yeah, bits and pieces.
You mentioned it before, you built a strong presence online and on YouTube. You are talking about doing video on YouTube. Did this strong presence came naturally, or you realized early that there was something there, and if you wanted to grow, you needed to be the front of social media?
I didn't really have a strategy. I just started doing it. I didn't really know why. I I'll tell you something, and you probably think I'm crazy, but I actually had a dream one night that I was called the beauty expert, and I was doing makeup, like makeup videos and makeup. It wasn't makeup videos; it was makeup articles at the time. So the next day, I got up and I tried to get the domain name, the beauty expert, but I couldn't get it. So I did Oz Beauty Expert, and then just started a blog. All it was showing pictures of the models whose makeup and hair I'd done on, because I was in fashion. I was working in fashion only. So I'd post the pictures of the jobs I'd done, list all the products that I'd used and links to the products, and explain how I'd created the look. And it naturally just got a following. That's when people were really into blogs back then. And brands just started sending me all this free product, and it just sort of grew. And then one day someone said to me, and then social media started in that time. Facebook was already around, but Instagram started in that time. So when I was on jobs, I started posting pictures and got a lot of resistance from people going, "Why do you want to be a social media makeup artist?" Like, just condescending. They like all these photographers, like, "Oh, that's so uncool." And I don't know why I was doing it, but obviously people were responding to it. And I just knew there was something to it, but I didn't know why, even though many, many times I felt ridiculous. Like, I had little kids at the time. I just used to think, "Oh my God." No, it wasn't. I didn't feel ridiculous then. When I was posting my jobs and I was anonymous, I was fine with that. It wasn't, my face was not there. It was when someone said to me, "You have to put your face to this." And that's when I felt ridiculous. And people was like, "Oh my God, what are the other mums at school going to think when I'm like posting videos of myself?" and and then that's when it really took off. People were like, there's a person behind it. So I didn't really ever plan it. No, it just grew. And I don't know. I knew there was something to it. And I was right. A few years later, all those photographers that were really rude about it, they were all scrambling to try and have a social media presence. And yeah.
I think you made a few important points. I think that's right. We always fear to be ridiculous, to look, to embarrass ourselves. But I read somewhere or someone said that ridiculous is a price to pay if you want to become successful online. And I think that's true. At some point, when you pass this cap of, posting all these videos and passing this cap of, oh, whatever people are going to think,
Yeah.
you do it for you, you do it for your business, you do it for what you want to achieve. Once you pass it, I think there is definitely another cap where success can come. I come back as well to your authenticity, because I believe that you are very authentic online and you are very honest with what you do as well with your skin and your
Yeah.
body. And I think that's amazing. How do you manage this? Because I guess people must embrace you, but people must as well tell you, we don't need to know that, or this is
Yeah.
terrible. How do you manage this, mix?
I think because I've been doing it for so long, there's many times back in the day where, like, I've never, and when social media was young and all this stuff was popping up for me, I was being taken on all these trips and people were watching all these videos. And I remember saying to my husband, "What am I doing?" And he's like, and me really thinking, "Why am I doing this?" And then someone was doing a trend. So I thought, "Oh, I better do that trend, or better do what these people are doing." And I really had moments where I was like, "Why am I doing this?" And I'm doing it just to help people. People like watching, kind of feeling like they know me. People, this is the thing, I think. People save all my videos because they feel like I'm not an expert, superior person up here. I'm like a friend that they can go, "Hey, Bonnie, what do you watch? How should I do my makeup on Saturday night?" And go and look at one of my videos. And I really just felt like I came to the conclusion at one point, "No, I'm not doing all this other stuff that people want to do, that other people are doing. And I'm also not going to try and have this really cool aesthetic that's aspirational, because it's actually not me. I'm just going to be me and see how it goes." Sometimes I dress really fancy and sometimes I dress really casual. It is what it is. And if you want to be there and follow me, you can. And if you don't, you don't.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Do you think there is one thing that you would like people to understand more about the industry? If there is one thing,
The beauty industry or the beauty brand industry?
probably beauty brand and the online,
The
social
online?
media. Yes.
I think that there's a lot of times that I don't know, I guess there's a bit of a stigma about people that are influencers and things. And I guess a lot of the times these people, me as a brand now, I really understand how an influencer can help my brand because they've got this whole audience and they're giving exposure to your brand. But I know I'm not really an influencer anymore. But when you are an influencer, there is a stigma of people. Oh, why? People say to me now, why do you want to use influencers on your brand? Because I want to grow my brand. It actually
Yes.
helps. There shouldn't be a stigma of people. And people have there's a lot of people that hate that influencers get free stuff and get paid for stuff, but they built their following. They own that community. They did it. That's their work. And for a brand to be put in front of their audience, why shouldn't they get paid? So I think I don't like that stigma against influencers. Yeah, that would be the main thing.
I think you're right. I think a lot of people are really jealous of the influencer because they think that it's just a photo of themselves and that's it.
Yeah,
But there is a lot behind building a
absolutely.
brand online.
Yeah.
Like there is so much, and your personal brand as an influencer, you have to do so much to get there and to get your community. It's not just posting a few photos. There is a lot more about
Yeah.
that. So
And for anyone who has that stigma, they should take on the challenge and try and grow a community that actually cares about what they've got to say themselves and see how hard it is.
100% well said. So what's one challenge that really broke you, but actually taught you the most about your business?
So this is pretty recent, I would say last year. Just I've been on the biggest roller coaster. It's a long story. I'll tell you later. But basically, I was told that my business wasn't in profit. And so when you're told that your business isn't in profit, you operate in a completely different way. Instead of focusing on growth and doing all these amazing things that you were doing before, you're focusing on survival, right? So you're scaling back, Anyway, long story short, after 6 solid months of high stress and thinking, what the fuck is going wrong? I just realized I had really bad advice, really bad financial advice. And it turns out I was in profit the whole time. So the effect that that had on the business was huge because I scaled right back, but I still had to finish paying for all the manufacturing that I'd paid for all the raw materials. So it meant the sales weren't coming in, but I had to pay for all these raw materials and manufacturing, which meant it was a serious cash flow crunch like that. And that's what I found out since is what breaks a lot of businesses. It's cash flow, right? That was really the biggest challenge I've ever faced in my whole life because it's not just the business, it was like my mental health. But I do think that when you are faced with when you're desperate, when you're feeling desperate, it's amazing what you do, who you bring into your life, what you learn. I have just been this last couple of years learning on steroids how to run a business. I've just met so many amazing people and and people that I trusted to give me advice before I wouldn't. And I've got these amazing people around me now. And I just think it's all happened for a reason because my business blew up so quickly that if I didn't learn all this stuff that forced me to learn, I probably couldn't have managed a business of that size anyway. So the biggest challenge, yeah, was incorrect financial advice that had a huge impact on the business. The upside of it, when it all came to fruition, and it was an absolute shit show to sort out, is that my business was profitable the whole time. It's actually worth a lot of money, and
Exactly.
and I'd been stressing for 6 months for
Yes.
nothing. So it's been a journey, but that is definitely the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Talking about a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine you went through all the
Oh my
the
god.
emotions
Oh my
too.
god.
Yes. But at least, found out that actually your business is profitable, always been, and you have been able to
Yeah.
do a good job.
Yeah.
When you started, when was the most difficult thing when you started?
When I started, well, I think the initial risk of putting a deposit down and getting all this stock manufactured because everything's custom made. There are minimum quantities to make the packaging and the formulations. At the start, that was the scariest thing, just receiving this huge pallet of face pellets and thinking, how the fuck am I going to sell all of these? But I did. So, yeah.
And so the business is really successful. What do you think was a key for Basic Baby?
I think for me, the real initial success was the founder story, was me. I think that it was just not just another beauty brand, it was me. And I had that initial community, and they were already willing to buy what I was offering them because they trusted that it was going to be good. And then in terms of reaching new people, they could just sort of follow the story and see who I am. I think that was it was huge. It was huge. And I started doing that 6 years ago when I started the brand. It was always a founder-led brand, and the whole founder story thing hasn't become really popular until the last few years. So I'd been doing that the whole time, which I think gave me a bit of an advantage.
I think you're absolutely right. Every founders, entrepreneurs that I met told me these two things: sharing my story, allowing people to identify themselves to my journey and who I am,
Yeah.
and building a strong community.
Yeah.
Being able to exchange with my community and stay close to my community helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think there's things in my career I look back and I don't want to toot my own horn or whatever, but I've always just done things early. I've always been an early adapter. Why I'm doing it at the time, but I had starting social media and posting on Instagram. Why I was doing it, I copped a lot of resistance, but I just felt like there was something to it. And then when I started the brand, and I could have had an anonymous brand as well, because some influencers do that, and just did it. And the whole founder story thing started booming. And then there were other brands, big brands that you'd never seen their founder before, who started going, I'm the founder and this is my story. So why you just go with your instincts.
Talking about resistance, how did you manage this resistance? How did you manage, all these messages and bad
Um,
talk?
I'm I'm the kind of person though, if people give me a resistance or people say I can't do something or tell me I shouldn't, it just makes me want to prove them wrong. So it would just excuse me, it would just fuel my fire. But it was pretty tough, like being on these fashion shoots with these top photographers who would be like, "Oh, you want to be an Instagram makeup artist, do you?" Or I don't know. But by that time, I think I already knew there was something to it, so I stuck with it. I think I'm a pretty resilient person.
So I think if someone is building their resilience, will probably to tell them follow your thought and what you believe.
Yeah. Block
And
out everyone else, block out what other people are saying. And I mean, obviously listen to the people that you trust, but even the people that you trust, I remember people in my family going, "Oh, you're posting on Instagram now," like as if, and saying it in a way, I'm just like, fuck off.
I have this.
So I think it's just listen and actually take in what you think, what you want to take in. I think just go with your instinct.
And what advice do you have for someone who wants to create a beauty brand but feel intimidated by the competition?
I think that beauty is a saturated market, and the only way you're going to make a difference is if you focus on building a community. If you've got even a small community at the start, or that's what you work on, building a small community that actually connects with you, and it's not, oh, it's another brand, you'll be okay. It can always grow from there. But community, I think, is everything, and a connection with the customer, not just another brand.
Amen to that. I have two more questions. One a bit personal. Who inspires you at the moment and how do they inspire you?
I think I really love there's a few different people. There's obviously some of my friends in my life and people that I meet that people that are inherently kind. I just really when I have these friends in my life and I just think you're my inspiration, just a good person. You know, when you meet people and you can just tell they're a good,
Yes.
kind person.
Yes.
And my granddad, who is sounds really weird, but we have such a close relationship. He was my kid's babysitter. He was in his 70s, babysitting them, taking them to school. All the mums at school knew my granddad, and he's just given us so much unconditional love and time. I know a lot of grandparents can be busy, but he is just. And I would ring him and say thank you so much. He'd get up early, 75 or 80, get up early, come and look after the kids, and have them the whole day. And I would ring and say thanks so much for having them, and he'd go, I love it. Thank you for asking me. He just. So he's a big inspiration to me. But then there's people in business. I really love following Emma Grede. Do you know
Yes.
her
Of
journey?
course.
She's such a,
She's
I feel
amazing.
like she inspires me a bit more. Sometimes I'm a bit I get really passionate about things, and I'm a bit cautious to get really passionate about things. But I think watching her, she just says it how it is, and yeah, I think she's really cool. And then I follow a lot of people that are all about energetics and manifesting, and really because I've been through a few struggles, just being trying to be in control of my thoughts and not letting my subconscious really put me into fight or flight. So there's a girl called Jamie C and Project 369 and they're just really good at just explaining to you when your subconscious is screaming at you that when not to listen to it because it's just trying to keep you safe, you know? So I've really found stuff like that. It's quite inspiring.
I will definitely check them out.
Yeah. I'll
Yes.
send them to you on
Yes,
Instagram.
please.
Yeah.
Thank you. And one more question. For anyone who wants to start a business and doesn't know where to start, where should they start? And what advice would you for them along the journey?
I think that you should just start. I think that I'm just a doer. I'm probably not prepared a lot of the time, but I just get shit done. And I think that that's the secret. You just start and you do it and you back yourself and you are open to learning along the way. Like you're never go if you sit and try and be prepared, you're never going to be 100% prepared. You will always be learning. So I think just do it and just don't give up. There will be times when things are tough, but sometimes I think the difference between failing and succeeding is just giving up. Just don't give up, make it work. You'll be amazed at the things you can make happen when you're put under pressure. I love this. Anna, thank you for your insights. Really appreciate your coming here. No, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.